Hello and welcome. The full preview for the Warden just dropped on the forums. Let's dive in and take a look. The new hero, the Warden. Here she is. As hinted in our April Fool's Day update, we misspelled the name of the hero as the Andrew, an anagram for Warden. What a coincidence. Guardian of the Forest. Yes, I wanted to talk about this a little bit. The Warden, aka the Dryad, it's not a design that Terraria owns. There's a lot of speculation as to whether or not CG is within their legal right to use the Dryad or the Warden in terms of a character. It's from Nordic folklore. It predates Terraria by many moons, so I think they're safe from that. They talk here about the roadmap voting and how the Dryad was one of the most requested heroes to return, so the Warden is her spiritual successor. That's significant because what it means is we'll be getting another new hero, completely new, on top of the Warden with episode 1. Alright, let's get into her attacks and abilities. Weapon of choice, polearm. Primary attack, the Warden swings her mighty polearm like a scythe, clearing a field, destroying foes that stand before her in melee range. So I think that means it'll be like an AoE cleave attack with a wide arc. That would be great. More love for melee damage would be nice. I would love to see another melee hero that's viable. Secondary attack, Sprout. The Warden calls forth a sprout that erupts from the ground, dealing low AoE damage to nearby enemies, shooting a seed a short distance away. So she shoots a seed, it plants something in the ground, and then that sprouts up. And if she picks up the seed, it regenerates 15% of her mana. And if she's in Wrath form, the seed grants increased damage and movement for 5 seconds. So it's a very short duration self buff. I assume it won't be given to other players based on what it says here. Maybe it will be, I don't know. Ability 1, Mushroom Circle, beckons forth a burst of mushrooms from the desired location. So it's her hero boost or tower boost, or F or C. I'm not sure which ability corresponds to ability 1 or 2. Normal form, mushrooms heal allies within the circle while slowing enemy movement, speed, and reducing attack rate. Sounds good. Crowd control. Wrath form. Enemies take damage while within the circle. After 10 seconds, the mushroom circle erupts, dealing damage and stunning all enemies within the circle. So take your pick, more damage, less crowd control, or more crowd control, strictly crowd control, and a support ability. So there's some interesting variance here between Wrath form and normal form. Ability 2, Wrath form, calls upon the power of the forest, causing the Warden to surge with energy. Wrath form increases the strength of all the Warden's abilities and defenses while active. So if I had to wager a guess, the Wrath form is her hero boost, and the Mushroom Circle is her ability, her tower boost, if you will. If it was a monk, let's say. I guess that's the correlation. I don't know. I guess we'll find out tomorrow when they stream it. Defenses. Roots of Purity, defense 1, summons a blockade that can take a beating from enemies, blesses the ground with the zone of purity around the roots that allows the Warden's other defenses to be constructed. The zone of purity restores 1% HP per second to any hero within its coverage. So it's a wall and a bit of a support defense for heals and stuff, but also this defense is required for her other defenses to be built. You can't build her defenses anywhere else unless you have one of these Roots of Purity down already. 20 build mana, 1 DU in Wrath form. The Zone of Purity becomes a Zone of Wrath, dealing damage over time to enemies within its boundaries, while also slightly reducing enemy damage. So the Wrath form does create quite a distinction for what the defenses will do. I'm assuming this kind of applies to all of them, where it drastically changes their effect. Dealing damage over time to enemies within its boundaries while you're in Wrath form could be good for dealing with minor enemies as well. Wisp Den, defense 2, opens a portal, pulling through 3 wisps that focus down enemies within its range, allows prioritizing of high threat targets. I'm assuming that means Jinn, Sharkin, maybe Copters, if this has that kind of range, ogres, spiders, I guess, dark elves, that sort of stuff. 50 build mana, 4 DU. Wrath form, the wisps become enraged, attacking enemies at a much faster rate. So again, we're seeing more damage, more of an offensive take on the defense in Wrath form. Beaming Blossom, defense 3, grows a flower that collects solar energy and then goes crazy towards enemies within its range, shooting a continuous beam of pure solar energy that deals high damage before needing to gather more energy. Sounds a bit like the the proton beam, the hero boost ability on the EV if it's got, well, if it can pierce. Mana cost 70, build mana 5D, Wrath form. The beam becomes magically empowered, piercing through enemies. So yeah, this could be a really, really good lane clear defense for just wiping out packs and stuff. We'll see. It depends on the downtime and how long it takes to recharge. I think that could be really good if it has a good uptime. Shroomy Pit, defense 4. A pit appears that spawns a Shroomy, a brave mushroom warrior of the forest. Shroomies don't have a lot going on in their heads, and as a result, they do two things: idly stand still, and as they spot an enemy, charge legs first, they're a bit off balance, and explode into enemies, dealing damage in a large area. 40 build mana, 5 DU, Wrath form. Shroomies enter their own Wrath form, applying a damage over time effect to enemies hit by their explosion. So they charge in legs first and blow up, and if they don't kill something, they'll deal damage over time with their explosion if your Warden is in Wrath form. So these could also be good too, but again, I think it depends on their uptime, how quickly they respawn after they charge in and explode on something. Sludge Launcher, defense 5. Vines and logs are infused together, pulling in toxins from the ground, shooting out giant globs that explode on contact, dealing a large amount of damage to the first enemy hit and heavily coat them in sludge, lightly covering nearby enemies in sludge, slowing them slightly slowing them. So this is cool. I like that it's a combination of crowd control and damage. We don't really see that too much. I think we only have that in the form of shock beams and lightning towers, so this could be really interesting. Mana cost 80, 7 DU, Wrath form. If the Warden attacks heavily sludge covered enemies, they can be stunned for 1.5 seconds, so that would further intensify the crowd control potential of this defense. This could be a game changer if that stun and slow combo is really, really effective, especially if it affects all enemies like ogres. So they mention here that they stream every Friday at 3 p.m., which they do on their Twitch channel. I'll leave a link in the description, 3 p.m. Eastern, so that would be, I guess, 11 a.m. Pacific, maybe? But yeah, it's 3 p.m. Eastern. Feel free to tune in. They do live Q&A. They always show off new stuff. It's a good time. What's next? We're going to be streaming the Warden this week. That's tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern on Twitch on their channel. I'll leave a link in the description. If you're not able to make the stream, we post our VODs and a condensed version of the new info in a Just the Beans edit the following week on YouTube. So I used to do these developer stream roundups on my channel. I took a break from them. Looks like they're going to pick it up on their official channel for that, so I'll link to that in the description if you're somehow not subscribed to Chromatic Games as well. Yeah, all relevant links in the description. They did show off maps already. Juicebags did some videos covering them as well. I can leave links to that stuff if you want to check that out. But yeah, that's going to do it here. As far as what this says here, this looks like they're talking about they're still working on the Switch and PlayStation development. They have different members of the team working on console releases than they do new DDA content. So they're still working on that stuff diligently, and they'll be getting it out whenever it's done, whenever it's ready to come out of the oven. But that's the full preview of the Warden here. It looks good. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to getting in and testing it out. Gonna be farming up some new Drake Tooths for the Warden on standby. Maybe I'm thinking for Rifted sets, just based off of this, I'm thinking an Ancient set would be great for the Roots of Purity. Seems like that's going to be a really integral defense in her kit, and I really do have high hopes for her 5th defense as well. I like the idea of a combination of damage and crowd control. All speculation. They could all be really good. They could all be maybe not so good. We'll see. Leave your thoughts in the comments. As always, links to Discord and Twitch for my stuff in the description. That's going to do it for me. Thanks for watching.